A 19-year-old kid grabbed a piece of wood and swung it at a monster twice his size. That one swing protected every woman in his village for the rest of his life. This is a story about a father who was equal parts brave and absolutely insane. And honestly, I respect both. Stay with me on this one. I lost my dad 20 days ago. The hurt is still fresh. But my father was the greatest storyteller I ever knew, and he had more stories than I could count. This one was always his favorite to tell, so I figure it's the right one to share. My dad was the youngest of 9 siblings, 6 brothers, 2 sisters. Being the baby of the family meant he was loved, spoiled, and completely fearless. He also had a short fuse, and I mean short. As a young man, people in the village knew not to test him. 9 siblings, 9! I can barely handle being in a room with one person, and this man grew up in a small army. No wonder he had zero fear. When you grow up fighting for the last piece of bread with 8 other people, one big guy doesn't scare you. Now, his second oldest sister, I'll call her Mira, was married to a military man. Her husband was stationed far away on the border, which meant Mira was living with her in-laws, as many women in the country still do. The problem was her husband's older brother, I'll call him Vikram. Vikram was a thug, an extortionist, an abuser, and worse. He stood 6'8", built like a wall, and had a reputation for being untouchable in a fight. No woman was safe when he was around. After Mira married into the family, Vikram set his sights on her. He started harassing her, pressuring her, forcing himself on her. And the rest of the family, they did absolutely nothing. The family did nothing. This woman is being terrorized under their own roof, and they just looked the other way? That's not a family, that's a collection of cowards sharing a last name. This went on for weeks. Mira was shattered, broken, until one day she found the courage to tell one of her older nephews, a kid barely 18 years old. That nephew went straight to my father and broke down crying, told him everything. What was happening to Mira, how her safety, her dignity, everything was at risk.
My dad saw red, pure white-hot rage, but even through the anger, he knew he couldn't take Vikram alone. This guy was a mountain. So my dad gathered his friends, his older nephews, and together they came up with a plan. And by plan, I mean they had absolutely no plan. The entire strategy was wait until he's drunk and then jump him. That's not a plan, that's a bar fight with extra steps. I love it. They waited for evening. In the village, the roads were dark, the electricity was sketchy at best, and Vikram was a known drinker. My dad and his crew drank too, for liquid courage. Then they waited in the shadows, and when Vikram stumbled past, 6 young drunk idiots pounced on one giant drunk idiot. Even hammered, Vikram could fight, and what my dad didn't know was that Vikram's crew of goons was walking right behind him. Suddenly, it was a full-on brawl, bodies everywhere, fists flying, complete chaos. In the middle of the madness, my dad grabbed a piece of wood off the road and swung it at Vikram's head with everything he had. One hit, straight to the skull. And then my dad and his boys ran, sprinted into the night like their lives depended on it, because they probably did. 6 drunk teenagers just ambushed a giant, cracked him over the head with a plank, and then scattered like roaches when the lights come on. This is the most chaotic revenge plan I have ever heard, and somehow it worked. My dad made it home, took a shower, and went to sleep like nothing happened. Next morning, he told his mother what went down. While he was still talking, word came that the cops were looking for him. Grandma told him to lay low, so he went on the run. He lasted about a week, and the reason he turned himself in, I swear I am not making this up. He said, and I quote, "I was tired of eating crappy food." He turned himself in because the food was bad. This man committed assault, went on the run from the police, and his breaking point was a lousy meal. He literally walked into a police station and demanded to be fed properly. That is the most unhinged reason to surrender I have ever heard. And honestly, I kind of get it. Bad food is bad food. The case was eventually dismissed. Vikram survived the hospital, but he didn't survive long after. The injury my dad gave him followed him to his grave within a few months. My dad never felt an ounce of remorse, and his reason was simple. Not a single woman in that village was harassed or abused after that night, not one. My dad always loved telling this story. He'd grin the whole way through like he was 19 again, swinging that piece of wood in the dark. I miss him. I know he had more stories like this, but I'll never get to hear them.
All right, let me give you the verdict on this one. Full marks for bravery. This kid was 19 years old, 5-0 compared to a 6'8" monster, and he said, "I don't care, nobody touches my sister." He gathered the boys, he made a move, and he sent a message that echoed through that village for decades. Absolute legend behavior. Now, was this a good plan? Absolutely not. Let's get drunk and jump the huge scary guy in the dark is the kind of strategy you come up with when your brain is powered by rage and cheap liquor. The fact that Vikram's entire crew was right behind him and nobody noticed, that's amateur hour. They survived on pure luck and chaos. But hey, sometimes chaos is enough. Me personally, I would have handled this with much more sophistication. I would have challenged Vikram to a formal duel, shown up in full armor, and then immediately forfeited because have you seen a 6'8" guy? I'm greedy, not stupid. Actually, wait, I am stupid, but I'm not that stupid. Point is, sometimes a drunk teenager with a piece of wood accomplishes more than any plan ever could. Protect your family, that's the lesson. If your dad ever did something completely insane to protect the family, I want to hear about it. Drop it in the comments. The crazier the better. Like and subscribe before I come find you. The underworld has spoken.